Welcome to Arlington Public News. I'm Brenda Mahoney. In this edition of APN, Arlington's first ever beer garden is in full swing for summer. Hear from Aeronaut co-owner Ronn Friedlander. And there's a new way to get around town. Those Lime bikes you may have seen strewn about are there for you to use. What you need to know to get rolling. And later,
you know, there's another hole under the fence here, which is likely a result of a rodent gnawing on it.
Not something many want to talk about, but rat sightings are on the rise in Arlington. What the health department is doing and how homeowners can help. That and more up next. Stay with us. Whittemore Park welcomed the Aeronaut Beer Garden for its second weekend on Saturday. Comfortable temperatures and clear skies brought Arlingtonians out in big numbers for its debut a week earlier. Director of Economic Development Jenny Raitt tells APN that feedback from the businesses, safety officials, and residents has been positive, and that the brewery is working hard to be a good neighbor. Aeronaut co-owner Ronn Friedlander was pleased at how smoothly things ran the first day and shared some of the tweaks they're making going forward.
We learned a lot. I mean, the first week went surprisingly well for the first beer garden, especially a beer garden in a new place, new equipment, new people, new customers, everything. I would say one of the things we ran into was flow of the line of people coming in and getting beers. So we kind of reconfigured the bar. We thought about how we're going to spread out service so there's a little more room for the bartenders. We created a little more signage in terms of this like wristband situation so people know how to do it, because we spent a lot of time explaining it. Next week, we're going to be doing all compostable. So we're going to be getting compostable cups. I have a compost company that's going to be coming in to pick them up. So we're also working on, you know, improving sustainability and trying to eliminate all plastic. Right now we're using post-consumer recycled plastic, which is a plus, but it's still plastic. Last week, we realized about halfway through as we were tapping the last kegs that there's a good chance we'd run out of beer before the end, which is the last thing you want. That's like the biggest disaster that could happen. So we sent someone back to the brewery to get a few more kegs. They brought them back. This time we ran the numbers. We brought a few extra. We brought the absolute maximum we think we could safely fit in our truck. We thought our session IPA would be the top seller, but it was the stronger IPA, the Rakau, which is an experimental IPA that we're doing with a New Zealand hop. That was really popular last week. It seems to be really popular this week, so we brought it back. And the Kolsch, which is, you know, a German-style beer from Cologne. If you go to Cologne, that's all they sell there. Keep building me up and shooting me down, but I'm already down. One of our missions as a company is to support local arts and culture and kind of use what we have, which is our beer and our kind of community influence, to amplify the voices of local artists and local musicians and other kinds of groups that we've been involved with. And it kind of allows us to use beer in a sense to finance the promotion of these artists and organizations. It's a really good scene. If you'll notice behind me, you know, everyone's really well behaved. It's like a very good community family type event. It's typically not too raucous. And so increasingly people are accepting of it, even if they're right in the middle of town. So I think it's this combination of, you know, this growing craft beer scene where you have more breweries who can do this kind of thing and are willing to do it, and have the energy to run and staff these kinds of events. And the towns and the municipalities and the cities that are looking for it and want it and see that it's actually really good for the community, for the economy. And that's what we've seen.
Well, as Whittemore Park gets more use from the beer garden, plans are underway to make the park a regular destination. Arlington's Office of Planning and Community Development is looking to remake the park to have it a common gathering space. Proposals call for opening the park up more to Massachusetts Avenue by removing the split rail fence there and incorporating the railroad tracks into a walkway, as well as improving the lawn and removing some trees. Last month, we showed you the design day in the park that was held there, where architects talked about their proposals and solicited feedback. One of the points was not to cut down as many trees as proposed. The plan now calls for taking down a total of 8 trees and replacing them with 8 new ones. 5 of the 8 trees to come down are dead or failing and have already been approved for removal. The others would still need a tree hearing. The plan for the park comes from a $650,000 grant from the Community Preservation Act Tax Fund. It includes the redesign of pathways in the front of the park and the creation of a gathering space where concerts could be held. Right now, there is a railroad leading to apartments and the St. Agnes parking lot there behind the park. Well, the planning department will finalize the plans and start to look for funding. Money could come from the Community Preservation Act or the town's capital budget. Construction wouldn't begin until late in 2019. Arlington High School hopes to have a new athletic director in place for the start of the fall sports season. Former athletic director Melissa Dugalecki resigned from the position after a picture appearing to be her in a partial state of dress was posted to the high school athletic Twitter account. Dugalecki claimed the New Year's Day picture was fake and the account hacked. But in late May, Arlington police and school officials determined that was not the case. The high school is inviting members of the community to help select the next athletic director. High school dean Veronica Tivnan tells APN they received a good response after a call went out looking for community members to join the search committee. Tivnan says the committee of about a dozen people will include parents, coaches, and students. Tivnan says they are looking for the next AD to be someone who has sports administration experience and he'll be a strong leader for student athletes. Administrators expect to invite the public to meet the final candidates, in the next couple of weeks, noting the importance of community input. The same process was followed, by the way, when Dugalecki was hired. Well, what makes a successful retail destination? Arlington Heights is trying to find that out. It is the last of Arlington's 3 main retail hubs to get support for economic development from the town. As long-term plans are developed, the natural ebb and flow of business is having an impact. APN reporter Zach DuPont has the story.
Over the last few months, Arlington Heights has seen multiple vacancies open up along Massachusetts Avenue. With Capri Pizza, Balak 5 and 10, Embassy Cleaners, and many more closing their doors, now more than ever, Arlington Heights needs new businesses to join the community. In the Arlington Department of Planning Community Development's May meeting, Arlington Heights residents talked about what kind of businesses and improvements they'd like to see in the community. The department is hard at work putting together the data gathered from the meeting, but with so many empty storefronts, what would residents like to see in the Heights?
It'd be great to have family-friendly, older American-friendly businesses and shops and restaurants for our residents and their families to visit along Mass Avenue.
I would love to see generally anything that's open past 10 o'clock. I want to see some late night activities to do in Arlington Heights.
A fair amount of restaurants here, but I think quality is still not very high. So I'd like to see more higher quality restaurants. Yeah.
Well, we'd love to see like another restaurant, like a pub, bar, just like a place for people to go and hang out and have something to eat.
We'd like to see maybe a few more little cafes and maybe a few more types of business like boutiques.
Arlington residents are in luck, as new cafe, the Roasted Granola, opened up inside Art Lounge, serving up iced coffee and granola just in time for the summer.
So we're called we're the Roasted Granola Cafe. That's under the umbrella of our parent company, which is the Roasted Granola, which we've been running for 5 years. Been living in Arlington for, I don't know how long now, 18 years, over 18 years, and Emily lives right down the street in Lexington. So one thing we really did want to become part of is a community. When we first started out, we were cooking in Emily's kitchen. We were in the Lexington Farmers Market, but we really wanted to start expanding and being more involved in the community. We really look forward to employing local youth. Right now we have a whole team of high school and college students working for us, and we're really enjoying that. So we really are looking forward to becoming part of the community.
We have had nothing but just open arms and support from Arlington. So I have to say it's a very exciting prospect to us.
Come visit us.
Yeah.
We're really happy to be here.
And thanks for welcoming us so much so far. We hope that we can, hold to the standard of the Arlington community.
2 additional businesses are gearing up to open in the Heights as well. Home Taste of Watertown will open a location in the former La Posada space, and Atlantis Healthcare is awaiting its final occupancy permit before opening in the former Tweet Tweet Toy Store location. While the Arlington Department of Planning and Community Development is still going over their data from their May forum, a second meeting is being planned for the fall to further review the desires of the Heights community. For ACMi, I'm Zach DuPont.
Up next, just how often are those Lime bikes around town being used? We've got the answer. And coming to a neighborhood near you, rats on the rise in town. We'll tell you why and what you can do about it. Plus, everything old is new again. We'll be right back.
Hey, you should submit that to Final Fest. You know, Arlington's annual Dog Film Festival. It's this August 18th, where you get to watch your dog videos on a big screen in Spy Pond Field. It's really easy. All you gotta do is post this video to YouTube, say it's for FidoFest, and publish. Don't forget to copy the link. Then head on over to acmi.tv/FidoFest. Submit your dog video, fill out your name, your last name, and your email address. Paste your YouTube link, and submit. Yay, you did it! You're the best owner! Love you! Gosh, I hope I went for cutest.
Arlington's newest mode of transportation is taking off. Those lime-colored bicycles you've seen around town, they've had 2,000 plus rides since coming to the community at the end of June. That's according to data from provider Lime Bike. Nat Strasberg of Arlington's planning department tells APN that's a robust showing for a new concept. Lime Bike partnered with the town and 14 other communities through the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. The bike-sharing company is one of a growing number utilizing dockless bike systems. With the app and a credit card, you can pick up and drop off bikes anywhere in the community. APN reporter Sam Backerman has more.
We decided to cooperate with 15 other area communities and work with Lime Bike and Spin to launch dockless bike share in Arlington.
It's a dockless technology, meaning all of the locking and communication technology is on the bicycle. Our bicycles live in the community, and you can walk up to it, simply unlock it with your smartphone app if you've created an account with us, unlock it, ride it where you're going, park it responsibly, and that's it. People talk about first last mile transportation. This is first last 10 feet.
We are really into trying to provide people with more mobility options, more ways of being able to get around, get out of their car, the public health benefits of cycling, creating more of a culture of cycling that then creates the constituency for more cycling infrastructure.
You know, how many people think that the traffic situation out there is good right now? It's not. And let's give people a different way to get around. And that's really what makes Lime unique. We don't just come in and drop bikes, and we're not here to make a buck with a bike. We're here to help people think 5 years down the road and to make that change happen right now.
Inaugural spin.
I know I'm excited about it, Adam's excited about it, and all 5 members of the board are very excited to get this going. And you know, I'm actually going to ride one right back to my office today. So, you know, I envision riding back and forth to work. I live in Arlington, I work right in the center. So this is perfect for me, and I know this is going to help out a lot of Arlington residents.
Before we even launched, we wanted to bake in that concept of accessibility, availability, and affordability. And we have, we're launching now, it's called the Lime Access Program. You can pay cash. We are recruiting people who are already getting existing government benefits like SNAP, WIC, EBT, and such, and saying for $5, we will get you $100 in trip credits. It's 130-minute trips, okay, a nickel per trip. This beats any other form of transportation. And we can offer that because our bikes can go everywhere. It's not like you have to go to a docking point or a central location to do that. A lot of what we hear from people, that the initial, when we talk about bike share, they say, oh, no, I have a bike. And I say, well, I have 7 bikes, and I still find a way to use Blue Bike when I'm in Boston, and I find a way to use Lime Bike when I'm in Malden, right? And it's about giving people that flexible the flexibility and the options, that's what's going to get people to change their behavior.
Lime Bike currently has 150 dockless bikes in Arlington. The company tracks bike locations and sends out crews to redistribute them as necessary. Arlington Senior Planner Nat Strasburg says the town hopes the Lime bikes will be used not only by regular bicyclists, but by those who otherwise may not ride a bike. Lime Bike has a one-year contract with the town, at which time the town will reevaluate and decide whether to extend the partnership. Well, you may think rats are a city problem, but in Arlington, it's becoming more and more of a neighborhood problem. Rats and their burrows often appearing overnight in backyards. We take a closer look at the reason why and what can be done about it, both as a community and personally. APN reporter Sophia Giannetti has the story.
Rats have become a growing concern for many residents of Arlington. The Norway, or brown rat, has become a common pest on many properties throughout town.
We have seen an increased trend of rodent sightings over the past 4 years or so, which could indicate an increase in rodent population as well.
Kylie Sullivan, the health compliance officer for the town of Arlington, has become the resident rodent expert in Arlington's Department of Health and Human Services. She says that there are several factors that can contribute to growing rat populations.
One, I think it's, we are such a densely populated area, and with that we have a lot of trash and waste, and we're not always great at managing it. We're having more mild winters. They can fit more reproductive cycles into the year, and so there are more rats that are being born, and they're not being killed off by the deep freezes in winter.
There are reasons to be concerned about these pests.
So one concern associated with Norway rats would be their habit of gnawing and chewing, and so sometimes if they get into a building, they may gnaw on wires, which could lead to a potential fire hazard. There also may be risks associated with consuming food or water that is contaminated with rat urine or feces, and so that can lead to some diarrheal diseases, all of which have treatments though.
Thankfully, rabies is not a concern.
There has been no research that shows that rats have rabies, and so that shouldn't be a concern.
And for all rats in this region,
there has been no known association with plagues and those types of illnesses.
The Department of Health and Human Services offers site assessments free of charge to any property owners who fear they may be hosting rats on their properties.
The site assessments of residential properties that the health department provides is a great stepping stone in tackling any rodent issue that you may be experiencing.
During assessments, health department representatives inspect the properties for evidence of rodent activity and burrowing.
There's another hole under the fence here, which is likely a result of a rodent gnawing on it.
One neighborhood that has taken steps to combat these rodent pests is Kilsyth Road. Upon noticing increased rodent activity in their neighborhood, the residents of Kilsyth Road worked with the Board of Health to address the issue.
We spoke with the neighbors and we called the Board of Health, and they were very kind, and they basically said that, getting rid of them was about changing the behavior of the people in the neighborhood. We had some neighborhood meetings, and Kylie from the Board of Health came, and she was wonderful, and she tried to educate everybody about proper ways to handle their food waste.
Proper waste management is one of the most important practices when it comes to preventing rodent activity.
When there is a rodent issue in the area, the most important thing to do to your property is remove any food sources. Some things that we often see as being sources of food for rats, trash is a huge one. So if you have trash barrels, it's best to keep them inside and then kind of bring them out the day of your trash. Other food sources we see can be pet waste, even pet food or pet water left outside. Sometimes we see residents with gardens or compost bins, and if those aren't well maintained, those absolutely can be a food source. And so kind of inspecting your garden or your compost bin, looking to see if there's any burrowing or if you see any food that's been eaten, maybe changing up your gardening or composting practices and trying to make it more rodent proof.
This is Garbage to Garden. And this is a program that many of the neighbors have signed up for. Your compost stays inside during the week in this bin. And then on Thursday or Friday morning, we just all put our compost bins out, and basically the food waste is out for about an hour. There's no sort of compost out there for the rats to get into.
Another important step is eliminating areas where rats feel safe.
Cluttered conditions on a property can attract rodents, so that means something like, if you have old building supplies kind of lying under your deck, something like that. Similarly with overgrown vegetation and things like that.
If deemed necessary by the site inspection, the Board of Health will recommend working with a licensed pest control operator to reduce rodent populations on a property. The licensed pest control operators employ many techniques, including baiting, trapping, and with increased frequency, the use of dry ice.
What happens with the dry ice is that it essentially suffocates the rodents inside their burrows.
The use of dry ice allows for the targeted elimination of rats without any risk of poisoning other wildlife. But before calling the exterminator, be sure to get a site assessment first.
We always encourage residents to contact the health department and we can come out and conduct a site assessment. And that way we can kind of indicate, yes, there is activity on your property or no, there isn't. So instead of calling a licensed pest control operator first, calling us first so that we can conduct an assessment and tell you, yes, you are having an issue and you should call a licensed pest control operator.
Sophia Giannetti, Arlington Public News.
For additional information and help with managing rats in your neighborhood, contact the health department at 316-3170. That's area code 781. Tips are also available on the health department section of arlingtonma.gov. Well, visitors to Uncle Sam Park recently had a chance to try their hand at writing poetry. For some, it came with a dose of nostalgia, and for others, it was a proof that everything old is new again.
I got involved with meeting Alberto through the International Film Festival. He comes and asks me to take part in different events where it would be nice to have some typewriters out. And that's what we're doing here today, typing poetry and remembering old movies. Most people, they'll try it and they'll say, oh, you have to really press the keys because they just want to tap them like their computer or their phone.
Oh, it didn't print the E?
You can go back slightly.
And then you've got like a single backspace
Oh,
right
no,
there.
wait, I got it.
Interesting.
Single backspace, forward space.
Oh,
Wait,
and
how
they,
did you-
these are tabs. Okay.
Yeah, tabs slide like a
Which one's the space again? This one?
space bar. That's your forward spacer.
Okay.
I own Cambridge Typewriter, which is in East Arlington, and we're a typewriter repair shop. But we also sell typewriters, and it's a great hangout spot too. People come and hang out just to soak in the vibe, and people say it's like stepping back in time. My front door is a portal. I do get a lot of baby boomers coming in looking for their old college machine, and a lot of just people just reminiscing, especially if they're walking by the shop and they hear the sound, and they'll backtrack and they'll come in because the sound immediately evokes memories. So they come in and they'll sit down and they'll type again. They go, oh my God, that takes me right back to the day. And it doesn't matter what age, once anyone that's over like 40, knows the sound and immediately remembers a time and a place. So younger people are starting to journal, keep diaries, write things down, stories, letters to friends. It's really becoming a thing.
I think it's more substantial and more important, if that makes sense. It feels so formal, and it's so fun to just play with it.
And it's just wonderful that they get that and they appreciate that, and not everything's digital.
It's just such an experience of taking something that in the past used to be so
prevalent,
mundane, prevalent, and we don't have that now because we have Word and we have Google Docs. And
I love how when you press the keys, you actually have to make an effort, and how hard you press makes the print like more bold and stuff.
Everything you print, you have to think before you type it.
Otherwise
because
you
it
mess
might
up.
just mess up.
I'm excited that young people get it, that there's value in something like this, and that sitting down and thinking about writing something and putting it in the mail and is a good experience.
The Typewriters will be back at Uncle Sam Park this Saturday, July 21st from 11 in the morning until 1 p.m. Stop by and tell your story. Well, thanks for joining us here at Arlington Public News as we explore events and issues affecting Arlington. Check out our latest segments on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @Arlington Public. I'm Heather Mahoney. Thanks for joining us.